Hey, welcome back to me. We're going to be shaving with, hold on, let me put the goggles on here. I think it's from Bulgaria. Where is it? Yeah, Bulgaria. Some Bulgarian shave. Whoop, easy. Cream today. It's a cream, so we don't have it whipped up. We'll whoop it up on the face. Tedalus Essence Shavette. Replaceable blade straight razor, whatever you want to call that. Whatever you want to call that. All right, here we go. Let's see. So how are we gonna? I don't use this kind of creams very often. Actually, really not. I think this is the only one I have. Maybe. I think so. You can either rub it on your face and do that, or you can put the cream on the brush. I think I've seen that more, maybe. Let's try that. We'll put the little, whoo, actually, it's cold here today. Well, relatively cold. No snow, not below freezing. But everything is relative, right? Just like, because we have very moderate, oh, I got too much water in my brush. I think we're slopping all over. Moderate temperatures. We very rarely get into the 30s, I would say. Just like we very rarely get over the 100. So you get used to what you get used to, and anything outside of that is like, anyway. The cream felt a little, we could probably do a little bit more water, but we're gonna go with that. That was quick. You know what I've been thinking about? We mentioned it on a Drinks and Dave's. I think the last show we did. But you know, because I mentioned we got a new to us Tesla Model Y. So now two Teslas traded in another car for. We just didn't add one for safety reasons. But I got to thinking, you know, it brings up again that whole conversation of why some people are just anti-Tesla as though it's the only electric car in the world. And you got to be, I mean, anyway. But I got to thinking about forget the electric part of that, just the technology in it. And even if it was a gas-powered car, if I could buy one with all that technology, that would sell me. So it's kind of interesting that, you know, the whole like, well, battery this and you're not saving the planet. That's what we were talking about on Drinks and Days. Forget that. Okay. Forget that whole argument, you know, which, you know, people leave out major parts of oil harvesting and production when they talk about whether or not you're saving the environment with an electric car. But say it was a gas-powered car and it could do what it did. But then, what then? What would you bitch about then? Right? I would say that tons of people would get them. Even then, I don't think many people I talk to that own them are doing it because, quote, they're saving the environment. They're just a kick-ass car. So for the price, and then again, you get into, like I mentioned, like it can beat almost any other production car off the line. That's with, you know, the top end Tesla, just like, you know, you could get a basic Jeep and probably beat a Ford Fiesta off the line, but you're not beating, you know what I'm saying? You know, so people say, well, I got this car, it's faster than what you're driving and all that. Okay, but we're not talking like the basics and all this. And even so, for the price, it can beat almost anything in its price category offline. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. I was just amazed. So my wife's, we got it because, you know, it's got cameras that shoot down the sides of the car, kind of like side view mirrors. And when you turn on the blinker on the screen, it shows the view from that camera. There are very, very, very few cars that do that. Many more have those cameras, and when you're parking, it'll turn them on to help you see and park, but they don't turn it on while you're driving full speed, like changing lanes on the highway, to help your vision out the back. And so I was thinking about all these things that her car does that even mine doesn't do, that I'm like, more cars should do this regardless. Gas, electric, hydrogen, run it off of peanut oil. I don't care. There's just some cool ideas. So one of the ones I mentioned is when you're sitting at a stoplight, when the light turns green, there's a nice little chime, almost like when you're on the airplane, you hear the boom, something like that goes off. Just like hey, just in case you were distracted. And I just thought, well, that's really cool. And again, I mention this stuff, and sometimes in jest, sometimes not. People go, well, you don't need that if you're not distracted. Okay, have you never ever looked up and seen the light turn green and wonder how long it's been green? Or gotten that little toot from behind you, or having to give somebody else that little toot, even if it's not you? Wouldn't it have been nice if that person... But again, these aren't necessary. I just think, hey, that's kind of cool. That would be nice as long as we can kind of do it. Stuff like I also learned that apparently Tesla is one of the very few cars that will give you updates over the air. So they'll add tons and tons of features now that cars have screens instead of dials for everything, are just computer programming, right? So you can add new features with changing the programming, which Tesla does on a regular basis, right? They'll send an update and they'll be, now you can do this, now you can do that. Almost, and I'm going to say this too, I don't know, I haven't researched, but very few, if any, other cars do that. They have the capability of doing that. Why wouldn't you do that? So some of the stuff they added is some people don't like the door handles are flush, right, on all the Teslas. For aerodynamics, increase your range. You now see some gas cars that do that too. Must be a good idea. Makes sense, right? Your stuff sticking out in the wind is going to produce drag. Some people don't like the Tesla door handles, including my wife. You have to on the Model 3 and the Y, you push in on one side and it pops the other. It's like a little pivot, little lever. So you push in one side, the other side pops out, you grab it and open the door. She doesn't like that. Guess what? On the app, you can choose a thing where you boot and the door will pop open a little bit and then you just grab the door and open it up. That's pretty cool. To mention the doors, if you live in a bad part of town, and these are set up where you just walk up, they have cards that are basically a key that you can put up against the door, but now most of the time the idea is you pair your phone with it, you walk up within Bluetooth range, your car's automatically unlocked. If you live in a bad part of town and you don't want all the doors unlocked so people could jump in with you, you can set it so that when you do that, only the driver door unlocks, right? It's your option. The other thing we mentioned on Drinks and Days, which I realized how kind of also important it is, the Teslas are very minimalistic inside, right? No screen in front of you anymore, just the center ones. The newer ones don't even have stalks on the steering column for shifting. It's all done. The car is supposed to sense which direction you want to be going, but you can always override it, right? Having said that, then a lot of because to get rid of all the buttons and stuff, it's all on the screen. So things like you want to adjust your mirrors, right? Usually you adjust it. Lots and lots of cars have the profile, right? Depending on which key you use to unlock it, and knows, oh, this is so-and-so, and moves the seat and the mirrors and all this stuff to the way you like it. Same thing with the Tesla, but it's all on the screen. So something like adjusting the mirrors, you decide you want to tweak it a little bit. Well, you hardly ever do that, right? So remembering how to get to that through the menu, especially if you're driving, can be overwhelming if you don't mess with it all the time. Well, their audible voice command system is just, I think, top notch and pretty quick. And we mentioned that on our show, how many different commands there are. Like you can say, hey, my feet are cold, and it'll direct the air vents down to your feet and turn up the heat a little bit, which is kind of a neat thing. But a safety thing would be like you want to adjust your mirrors. You say, adjust side view mirrors, and boop, up comes the control panel for your side view mirrors, which then the other thing they do, which makes total sense, and maybe other cars are doing this now, but I think everybody should, is that like the scroll wheels on your steering wheel, their functions change depending on what you're doing. So like when that screen is up, one of the scroll wheels then, up and down, and you can physically push the little scroll wheel in and out, changes your mirrors. But then, when you're driving, it turns into the volume control for the radio, or you can customize it. That's a totally easy thing, right, to program in. Everything should do something like that. So I just see stuff like that, and I'm like, why aren't everybody else doing stuff? What am I doing? I got BBS, 2-pass BBS here. This is always the problem area. So I'm gonna do my weird, whatever. I don't know if it's across the grain or against it or in between or whatever, but just kind of cleaning up a little bit. Another neat little thing, again, not necessary, but as soon as I realized it, I'm like, that's a really cool idea. I appreciate that. Is, if you're going to change lanes, you should signal. Always use your turn signals. But you're either two choices in most cars, right? You either can usually tap it down a little bit and it'll blink like 3 times and then stop, right? So if you want to give this little courtesy, like, hey, I'm moving over, you do that. If you need to do that, there's a lot of traffic and I'm letting people, I'm moving over, and I might be having to force my way over or waiting for them to make a little space or what have you, you push it down like you normally do, and it's just clicking all the time until you do whatever, redo it or push it up or, whatever you have to do to cancel it. The Tesla, if you're doing that and you turn, so yes, you can just click it halfway down or part whatever and get a few clicks and it'll be done. If you are in the second situation, you push it down and it'll just keep going, but it knows where the lanes of the road are, right? Like a lot of cars now that have that lane keeping assist or whatever they choose to call it, apparently they don't get scrutinized unless they're Tesla and call it autopilot, even though it's the same damn stuff. And I'll tell you about that. That's an irky thing. But so anyway, once you do that and then you change lanes manually, whatever, you just do it, it knows you've changed lanes, assumes that's why you put on your turn signal, and it just turns it off automatically. You don't have to fumble with, oh, do I push it back up? Did I push it too far? Now it says it's going the other way. It's just, I don't know. They're too numerous to. Again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious the horn situation on cars nowadays. Used to be a physical horn, right? I kind of assumed it still was, but I wonder now, especially all electric cars now by law have to make some noise when they're backing up, so pedestrians are aware something big and heavy is moving around them, like their eyes don't work. But 'tis the law. And so now they've got speakers on the outside of the car to produce said noise, which is weird. I don't know. That's one thing you can't change, is what noise the Tesla makes when it backs up. And I don't know. I would assume that's some regulatory thing, like they pick something that couldn't be mistaken as like music or like it, like, because if he had something that was like always, play this part of a song or something, they could just think it's the radio and not think anyway. Where's it going to? Oh, because now there's speakers on the outside. When the car automatically locks itself when you walk away. Mine actually didn't make any noise, which freaked me out at the beginning when I first got mine. I would walk away and I didn't trust it. So I'd stand and I'd watch until it timed out and then it locked. I'm like, okay, you get used to it and you just walk away and you trust it. This seems to, the new one seems to lock much sooner than mine does. But it can also make a noise and it's set for just like a normal like chirp. Pet peeve. I've never understood the car manufacturers that honk the freaking horn when people lock. First of all, if you're near your car, you can always hear, right? You can hear that. You don't need the, not only do you not need that, but if it's peace of mind to have some noise, why do we have to hear it through the whole parking lot? Or a pedestrian in front of your car, like, because you got the, So anyway, the Tesla, you can choose somewhat at a certain number of noises. I currently have it set to, I think she would rather just hear the chirp, but it goes, with, it locks the car. But you can also change the horn when you actually do the horn to a different noise. So anyway, I wish more cars would do that. There's Lemon. Is get rid of the freaking horn. I wish that was against the law that they use the horn to signal that the door is locked. One crazy thing, which I was getting to when I mentioned that there's all sorts of cars now that have some kind of lane assist, or again, whatever they call it, right? They say you're only supposed to use it on the highway. I think some you have to be going above a certain speed, so you're not using it in town. Also, again, I didn't do my research. But that's the intent, right? Is straight roads, no intersections, just to keep you, it's supposed to help you from getting distracted and all this stuff. But again, nobody seems to be under scrutiny for that kind of stuff other than Tesla. And so my wife's car, yes, you can pay more money for them to switch on the complete autonomous driving. It doesn't have that. It has just what tons of other cars do. You turn it on and it just keeps you in your lane. And in fact, it's, I'll make the story simple anyway. So you can do that. What it does have is a camera that points at the driver to make sure that they are paying attention. And so it's one thing to and my car doesn't have that. So I can be going down the road and, looking at the sunset and sunrise and all this stuff. And it'll just keep going until it, you got to jiggle the wheel and stuff. My wife's car, if you do that, even without turning your head, it knows where you're looking and it knows you're not looking down the road. And if you do that long enough, it'll beep at you just like you're supposed to wiggle the steering wheel, like, hey, dude, road's up here. Which is a little frustrating when, we're still learning it and I'm looking at the screen and I get the little beep or whatever. And it's like, I realized I was looking at the screen too long for Tesla's liking, and it makes you. So I guess, okay, fine, but you don't hear about this in other cars. So if it's so important, and there's so much scrutiny on one car company because of it, even playing field. That's all I'm saying. The other thing, look at, got almost a full bottle now. You know what's going on? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. This stuff's getting harder to get. Somebody mentioned, I share my source with a few people. I think they're both out of Germany. Because you can't buy this stuff. This is imported for the Nurse Dave Shaving World. They said it looked like it was out of stock. Oh, no. I think I have another bottle or two, but I was like, oh my gosh. What if? So I got 4 more bottles on the way from a new place. Kind of a little sketchy, from Portugal. We'll see if they show up. But, this moment brought to you by Ombre Barbershop, the sweetest smelling barbershop in Tucson. Yeah, there's nothing like this stuff. I don't even know how I came about using it in the first darn place. Somebody must have told me, or I saw somebody. I think I probably saw somebody and I saw the 2 layers. I'm like, oh, that's really, I need that. I did buy this Nivea Deep, which is just, you know, no layers. Not the same. It does have a nicer, it's got scent to it. So Bruce from the Cadre likes this one because he's the unscented king. And that has no scent, so he uses that. The Deep has a kind of a man's fragrance. Again, I don't think it lasts very long, but it also, I don't know if it's all up here. I think the 2-in-1 has a lot of, it's got to have a lot of alcohol because you turn on, you kind of feel that tingling and stuff like that. But that makes it feel like it's sealing up stuff. The Deep one, not so much. Anyway, there we go. It's a Sunday. We have a Shaving Cadre Zoom call today. We've gotten a bunch of new members, which is super cool. And again, we always talk about it's kind of tough to jump in when you're new into a group where people know each other and are shooting back and forth, you know, kind of quips and ragging on each other for fun and all that kind of stuff. But certainly hope that people get over that, don't feel intimidated, especially the Zoom calls. I was telling somebody at work asked what I was doing this weekend, and I tried to explain kind of the hobby I was in the group, and I said, it's just a bunch of middle-aged guys complaining about health and making fart jokes and stuff like that. That pretty much is one. I mean, sometimes we try not to get too serious, right, because we want everybody just to get along. Anyway, so I would just say, if you're not part of the Cadre, come over, check out theshavingcadre.com. If you're part of the Cadre, never been on a Zoom call, watch for those announcements. We've had people that dial in and just listen, and we think that's totally fine because we'd rather you get to know us so you can feel comfortable. Anyway, I'm looking over to try to decide what scent I'm putting on because now pretty much all my scent is gone, and I don't know. I'm just I'm going with Penhaligon's Rackets. And I couldn't even describe this one to you. To me, it's a middle in scent. It's not deep and earthy. It's not sharp and sweet. It's not herbaceous. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's just, it's round and it's soft, a little sweet, and I can't describe it. Anyway, there you go. I'll see you on the forums.